Hello everybody, and I have a theory for everyone. Before we start this video, I just want to say that this is all theory. I did use a lot of actual facts from the game to put this theory together, but that doesn't mean that it will be correct. So as of this recording, Deltarune Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the only chapters released. So if Chapter 5 is released by the time you're watching this and I got this all completely wrong, then please, I promise you, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just making theories. Real quick, I want to make it clear to you, this theory will take a while, and getting into this theory, it will be long, so buckle up. You can, I don't know, get some food, get a drink, have a break, have this playing in the background, I don't know, anything. And if you like the video, like and subscribe. So let's start off simple. In Deltarune Chapter 2, after the car segment, you will meet a strange salesman who will come out of the bin and will try to fight you. If you do the right thing and spare him, he will promise you that he will open up his shop again. After all of this happens, once you get to the Queen's mansion, you get the ability to go back through this door. One of the areas you can go back to is the trash zone, and if you go back to this door, you will find Spamton's shop. He sells mostly useless items, so the majority of players leave and don't think much of it. However, if you decide to talk to him, he will give you some information. He tells you to go to Queen's basement and find the Neo body to get the disc from it. By doing that, you can go back to his shop, and he will ask you to transfer himself onto the disc. If you proceed, you will receive the loaded disc. By placing the loaded disc into the Neo body, you will fight Spamton Neo. By going back to the trash zone after defeating him, you will find all the Addisons with their back turned. They will tell you his story.
He was just like the rest of us, just a little unlucky. For some reason, his products never seemed to hit, and the lighteners never even looked his way. Poor guy, night after night. When we all went to the same cyber grill, he'd shoot his mouth about making it big someday.
You just watch. Someday I'm going to be a big shot.
He started to get a little desperate. I heard he started looking for any way to become more popular. Somehow, he made the right phone call and found someone. Or was he found by someone? They must have been helping him, because suddenly he was on the phone all the time. Suddenly he got really good at his job. The clicks started piling up. What did he do? Why did he deserve this? We were all so jealous of him, we stopped going out with him. I mean, wasn't he a big shot? He didn't need us anymore, did he? Even so, he only got more and more successful. He moved into a luxurious room in the Queen's mansion. He started bragging about big TV deals, big cars, big commercials. But then things started to crack. It seemed like whatever was helping him disappeared. His sales dropped to zero, and everything came crashing down. The day he was evicted from Queen's mansion, I went to his room to check on him, but he wasn't there. There was only a phone hanging off the handle. He must have left it in the middle of a conversation, because I could still hear someone on the other end. But when I put the receiver to my ear, there was nothing but garbage noise.
If you ask Spamton about friends, he would say,
Me? Friends? Chris, you and me already.
Friend request accepted.
We don't need anyone else. We don't need
Easels.
CRTs.
We don't need any
Man, woman, or child.
Bryce. We don't need
Mike.
Chris, don't believe
Anything you see on TV.
the man's a criminal, I tell you, a criminal.
he speaks in brackets and has a personality like... While Ralsei is giving Susie a speech, a charming TV fellow will enter the screen. You will then be forced to play board 1 of his game. After completion, he will place you in a green room, and if you got a Z, S, or T rank, you will be able to access this room. In the room will be a screen with a pink and yellow controller. When plugged in, you will enter the game Sword. It is almost the opposite of board 1. Same map, but this time you receive a sword that you use to kill enemies around the map. Once you get a high enough level, you can slash these cacti to progress to a blue area. You can get higher level, and once you have reached max, you can slash trees, which by doing so will reveal a chest with an ice key inside. You are also able to defeat a blue bird. After you collect it, you'll be forced out of the game, and you have to play board 2 to progress. In board 2, you have to take at least 3 magical photos to receive the magic raft. By going to this ice area, Tanner will teleport you back to the start. Once you complete the board, you can go back to the room and play sword again. Once again, you will be placed on the map of board 2, but this time you have to kill enemies. Once you have received the raft, you can go to the ice area previously inaccessible, and you can use the ice key on this blue door. Doing this will place you in a weird room. You do the same, but you will eventually find a hooded figure that will follow you and freeze enemies. You will eventually be forced to freeze a blue bird to continue. Once you reach this next door, you will see text that says, "She was used up." After the door opens and you find a bunker, you will get more text, "You were used up." You are then forced out of sword and have to progress the story. When coming back after the TV World segment, you can play sword again. You start in a city, and the only way to progress is to kill Suzanne Ralze behind you. You then have enough levels to slice these ropes and continue to an alleyway. After you enter this manhole, you'll be in a dark area, and you'll be forced to kill random enemies to continue. Once you are max level, you can slice these orange trees and start a boss fight. This boss is widely known as Iram. After defeating it, you'll be able to gain a Shadow Man. 8-bit Chris will then walk out of the screen. Now, if you will notice, the whole game of Sword very strongly mirrors the weird route of the game. In board 1, you can fight a blue bird. This can mirror you fighting Birdly in chapter 2. In the second board, you can freeze enemies using a white mage, until you are forced to freeze a blue bird. This is exactly showing Birdly's second fight, and Noelle joining the party. Since this is the last evidence of the weird route, it could mean that what we see in the third part of Sword is what will happen in the next weird route. On top of that, in chapter 4, it tells you that Noelle will come with you on the day of the festival if you did a weird route. Now let's talk about routes. In the files of the game, the song that plays in the last section of Sword is called bit_roots. If you paid close attention, you might know that the song played in Queen's basement is called digital_roots. This is also a prophecy in chapter 4 that just says roots, with some kind of doghouse in between 2 trees. Right next to these roots is a philosopher NPC. The philosopher gives a line of text that's completely scrambled. Instead of a normal sentence, the game presents a bunch of individual words in a strange order, like a puzzle for the player to figure out. The important thing is that the words themselves weren't scrambled letter by letter, they were just placed out of order, so the community quickly realized that the trick was simply rearranging them into a sentence that made sense. Players started looking for clues, for example, lost is capitalized, which started the sentence. Meanwhile, tail ends with a period, meaning it could probably be the last word. Then there are phrases that naturally fit together, like the children followed the pointed tail. But what if it was followed the children? Nobody knows. What made the most sense was lost where the forest would grow. The children followed the pointed tail. That was the sentence unscrambled, since one of the URLs in the Spamton Sweepstakes official Deltarune website was called Lost Where the Forest Would Grow. So in the end, the mystery about cracking a complicated cipher, the game actually gave players a piece already. The community just had to rearrange the words in context clues to reveal the message. Back to Queen's basement. This is also where you first encounter these pink and yellow eyes, in the files named device_friend. Since this friend first appears in Queen's basement, the same place that has the soundtrack Digital Roots, now makes it clear this friend is connected to Roots. And in the very room where the prophecy panel is, the philosopher mentions a pointed tail. The Friend Master Doc by Wandy Noodles explains every connection Friend has pointed. friend has to such pointed tail. There is even a prophecy panel dedicated to the tail of hell as it's described. Friend's most obvious encounter is at the beginning of chapter 3. Rasay explains to Susie about darkness, and the example used, friend's face, but this time depicted as a cat-like head with the body of the amalgamates from Undertale. Also, by the way, I just wanted to point out that this kind of looks like a severed hand if you really look at it. You know, the hand, the fingers, severed hand. Yeah, anyway. Eram also literally summons miniature friends with cat heads. Cats have tails, right? On the topic of cats, Noelle's blog post explained Cat Petters, a game all about cats. She says that she was gifted an egg with special in it. This obviously references Spamton, both with this egg Pippus and the word special. The game Cat Petters seems very similar to an actual game called Cats. Everything in that game is made out of circles, almost like the tail of hell. Now, this next part I only discovered thanks to Gold Pro's video on roots. But if you align Bitroot's area with the area of Hometown, the enemies make sense. Green alligator next to a pink cat. Blue fish dying, upsetting the yellow dinosaurs, and a yellow monster using red attacks that is surrounded by flowers. Now, how am I sure of this? In that area, orange trees very similar to Hometown's trees. So now we can assume that Roots is Hometown? Or rather, under Hometown. And maybe it's a dark world of Hometown? And the only door that leads to under Hometown is the shelter door. In Sword, opening the bunker that leads to Eram Boss, but I predict that the real Roots would be under Hometown, possibly where Undyne is right now. Also, in Chapter 4, Gerson's Chapter 5 Lord of the Hammer is a field of pink and gold. He also mentions flowers in the garden in the prophecy panel. In the prophecy panels, the Asgore one is named Boss 3, with the other ones being Queen and Tenna, so many assume the next Dark World would be in Asgore's shop, the Flower King. But we now know that Chapter 5 will take place on the day of the festival. Flowers are often used in festivals, so if Hometown will have so many flowers, then it fits the description of a field in pink and gold more than the Flower King does. But now it all makes sense. Noelle will come to the festival and the weird route will continue. This is how all the citizens of Hometown will be killed. Since the Dark World is usually confined to doors, making it open air will definitely result in an imbalance of light and dark. This very event will cause the roaring. So, what about the prophecy? Will the only way to stop the roaring be the weird route? It's many have assumed, but I believe there will be 3 endings to the game. Rasay straight up tells us in Chapter 1 that we might not get the ending we want if we do a weird route. I believe if we do a neutral/twisted route, we will have to seal the Castletown fountain to prevent the roaring, and if we do a weird route, we will not prevent the roaring and instead play right into Friend's plan. Think about it. Whoever wrote the prophecy clearly believes the weird route is the only way of freedom. Or maybe it's trying to get you to believe that it's the only way of freedom. This ties straight into Friend with pink and yellow eyes who is infatuated with that. Spamton Neo, who happens to be a mandatory fight in the weird route of the game. Gold Pro explains the roots thing better than I can, but let's put this into perspective now. The colors pink and yellow appear everywhere, in merch, in the Spamton sweepstakes, in Cyber City multiple times. And these panels also have cats on them, the Mike minigame, unused Birdly attacks, the Sans fight in Undertale. These references are in Undertale, down to the hex code. Noelle is yellow, Susie's pink. I remember that controller for the sword minigame. Ram didn't put that there. Ram was watching out for Tenna. Who put that there? Why is the controller pink and yellow? Even the knight's laugh is the exact same as Friend's. I personally think Azrael is the knight. But Death's theory has more evidence. What if there were multiple knights? Does Gaster even fit into any of this? Well, that's it for today's video. Alright guys, I really hope you enjoyed, and If you did, I would love if you like and subscribed. It would be very... I could be very right about this theory, and if Toby Fox sees this, he'll probably change the ending. So, or I'm just completely wrong about everything. That's also probably. I'm just trying to hope I get something right for once, because I have never successfully predicted a future Deltarune chapter. Please don't look at my previous Deltarune theories.